Hari Om everyone. Oh. 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 Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswati Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः. हरि Om. Okay, we are in the 30th verse of Bhajagovindam. Today we are going to see that. So, in the 28th verse, Adi Shankaracharya took the Kama Purushartha, and the 29th verse, Artha Purushartha, and showed if they are pursued, that means if Kama and Artha, they are pursued as the goal of life, how calamitous the life is going to be. So, I read a statement that said, money can be husk of many things, but not the kernel. If you see many successful people in this world, when they have seen the life and when the wisdom has developed in them, they give very beautiful statements. So some of the statements like whether we drive $150,000 car or $30,000 car, the road and distance is the same, and we get to the same destination. The other statement is don't educate your children to be rich, educate them to be happy. So when they grow up, they will know the value of things, not the price. You will realize your true inner happiness does not come from the material things of this world. So like this, you can find many statements which are made by the experience from their life here. And here, Adi Shankaracharya in the 28th and the 29th verse belittled Kamini and Kanchana, and he said, don't get caught up in them because they are complete hollow. So see the hollowness in them. So withdraw the mind from these preoccupations, that is Artha and Kama, and have the attention towards your spiritual progress and walk the spiritual path here. So many spiritual seekers are even if they are not walking the spiritual path, when they see a Swami or a Guru, their common question is, or common request is, please give me a mantra, or please tell me what is the sadhana that I can do. So here, Adi Shankaracharya, in this verse, 30th verse, he is giving some sadhanas, 5 sadhanas to be exact. So let us see the verse here. Pranayamam pratyaharam nityanitya viveka vicharam japya sameta samadhi vidhanam Puruvavadhanam Mahadavadhanam Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam Govindam Bhaja Mudhamate. We see that Adi Shankaracharya, this first verse we call it as refrain. So with every verse we chant this verse, Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam. So here, so he keeps saying, seek seek Govinda, seek Govinda. So how to seek Govinda? So Adi Shankaracharya says, you do these things. Okay, that is seeking Govinda, and you will get Govinda. And what are those things? So here says Kuru. Kuru means do. So do these things. What are those things to do? So he's giving sadhanas like pranayamam kuru, pratyaharam kuru, nitya viveka vicharam kuru. So do this, do this, do this. He is saying this, and these are the sadhanas. And the first sadhana he says is pranayamam. So you add the kuru with all the sadhanas. So pranayamam kuru. So do pranayamam. See, the 4 paths that are prescribed in our scriptures are in our spiritual path is the karma yoga, bhakti yoga, gnana yoga, and raja yoga. Raja yoga is also known as ashtanga yoga. And here the first line is talking about raja yoga here. That is ashtanga yoga. And what is ashtanga yoga? It is ashta, 8, anga is limbs. The 8 limbs of that yoga is ashtanga yoga. So the 8 limbs that is mentioned there are the yama, niyama, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So if you see in this 30th verse, Adi Shankaracharya has taken some of those 8 limbs like pranayama, pratyahara, and samadhi, and all that. So for pranayama is a part of Raja Yoga here. So when we hear the word pranayama, we always think about the breath control. So modern term you can say as mindfulness here. But Gurudev gives a different meaning for pranayama. So he says the control of the activities that is of life manifestations in you, that is known as pranayama here. We'll come back to it in more detail about the pranayama. And the second sadhana that Acharya ji has given here is pratyaharam kuru. That means, control the senses. Have total control over your senses. The third sadhana to do is nitya, anitya, viveka, vichara. Inquiry into what is nitya, permanent, what is anitya, impermanent. Fourth and fifth sadhanas to do are japya sameta samadhi vidhanam. So along with japa practice, reaching the total inner silence, that is samadhi. So he gave 5 sadhanas to do, and how this sadhana should be done, that is very important. That is given in the last pada. And that says Kurvavadhanam Mahadavadhanam. So Kuru, that means perform, do, Avadhanam, how you should perform with care. And Mahat Avadhanam, with total care, you should perform all these sadhanas. Gurudev writes in the commentary, here in this stanza, we have all the elements of inner exercise, Antaranga sadhana. They are indicated by Shankara as control of life's activities in the body pranayama, the sense withdrawal pratyahara, discrimination nitya anitya viveka vichara, and then fourth is japa, and as a cumulative effective of all these reaching a state of utter silence within, which is the springboard to the highest samadhi. Then he writes, the foundation of the whole spiritual practice is given here, and these practices should be performed with devotion and faith. So these practices, Chinmayananda Swamiji, Gurudev, he calls it as Antaranga Sadhana, and the verses 28 and 29 that's talked about Kamini and Kanchana, they are considered as Bahiranga Sadhana. And all these sadhanas, they are not time bound. That means, you cannot say, if I do this for this many years, my goal will be reached. So there is no time. Some people might take lives together. Some people might do it within this life. So it is not time bound, and it is not also a part-time job like thing, You have to put all your effort, and it is a full-fledged sadhanas that we should do here. So now let us go and see each sadhana in little detail here. So the first one that it says here is pranayama. So pranayama, kuru, do the pranayama here. We see in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna in the chapter 4, 27th verse, he says, Sarvanindriya karmani, prana karmani chapare, atma samyogagnav juhvati gnana deepite. Those who are interested in self-realization in terms of mind and sense control offer the function of all the senses as well as the vital force, that is the breath, as oblations into the fire of controlled mind. So here says Sarvani Indriya Karmani Prana Karmani Cha Apare. So everything. So now let us see what is this pranayama. Prana is the breath, or you can say it is the vital energy in the body. And prana, ayama. Ayama means control. So control or the regulation of this vital energy or the breath is pranayama. Gurudev writes, he gives a different definition for the breath control, and for the pranayama, he gives a different meaning also. So I'm going to read what he has written. Pranayama is a term which, due to its hasty translation and equally superficial practice, has come to be translated and known among us as breath control. In Sanskrit, to express breath control, we have altogether a different phrase, swasyama. We say shwasa. So shwasyama, that's what it is. And prana in Sanskrit means life. And as used by the Upanishad seers, they have considered it as consisting of 5 distinct modifications. And what are these 5 distinct modifications? Those are nothing but the physiological functions in our body. Those are the modifications. Those are the prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. Prana is the respiratory, the faculty of prana, so that is responsible for the respiration and the flow of breath and also pumping of the heart. Apana, so the faculty of excretion. So the capacity to reject the unnecessary and the unwanted poison things that are in our body, those are rejected. And what are those poison things? Like perspiration, sputum, urine, feces, and all these things. If they stay too long in our body, they act like poison. It will be detrimental to the life also. And then samana. What is samana? Samana vayu is responsible for all the digestion and also the metabolism. Then comes the Udana Vayu. Udana separates this Linga Sharira or the astral body or the subtle body from the physical body at the time of death. Then Vyana Vayu, it is responsible for the blood circulation. Okay, and it takes the food for all the parts of the body. And Gurudev writes, to control all these 5 expressions of life in a living being is called control of pranas, pranayama. And these 5 physiological functions, and here it says pranayamam kuru. So what do you do for these physiological functions? That means, these physiological functions also should be controlled. So that's what it means, pranayamam kuru. So in Prashnopanishad, there is the student asks a question, the guru answers. And one of the questions is about this prana and all that. So it is like a story forum that the guru gives the answer to the question. So it is like, the 5 main faculties of our nature, that is the mind, the breath, that is the prana, speech, hearing, and sight. These, were arguing to see who is most important. So to resolve this dispute, they themselves decided, okay, let one of us leave the body for 1 year and then come back and see how important that particular the faculty is. So they all agreed for that one. So the speech left, but the body continued to flourish, though it was mute. Then the eye departed, then the body continued to flourish, though it was blind. Then the ear left. The same way, the body still continued to live, even though it was deaf. And finally, the mind left. And when the mind left, the body still continued to flourish, even though it was unconscious. But then, the moment the prana started to leave, the body began to die. So all the other faculties, they were losing their life force. And they all ran to prana and they said, yes, you are the supreme. So please don't go, stay here. And they begged the prana. So as I said, this is a story that is in the Prashnopanishad. So what does it show? Here, it becomes very clear that prana gives energy to all our faculties. And without that, the faculties cannot function. So control over pranas means control over our sense enjoyments. And prana has many levels of meaning also, from the physical breath to the energy of like a consciousness itself. And Guruji, talks about, whenever we talk about yoga, and people will think about siddhis, the how does the siddhis come? How with yoga you can attain the siddhis also. So here Guruji talks about the siddhis. He says in our Shastra, it is said that Adi Shakti of Prakriti, that is Maya. Maya has two powers. One is called the mind and the other is called as the prana. So in the mind, there is Jnana Shakti, and in prana, kriya shakti, action. Those people who focus only on kriya shakti of prana, they get these siddhis. And like, what you call supernatural powers, like walking on the water, or the ashtasiddhi, like anima, garima, mahima, and all those things. But these people, they get the siddhis, but they will never have the self-realization. So somebody may be a yogi with lot of siddhis, that doesn't mean he's a realized person. And those people who concentrate on the Gnana Shakti aspect of the prana, they get self-knowledge. And with the self-knowledge, they get become self-realized also. But they may not have any siddhis at all, because they did not concentrate on the Kriya Shakti there. And then there are people who concentrate or focus on both the things, Gnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti. So that kind of people, they are not only self-realized, they are also have many siddhis also. And some of the examples that we can give is like Vedavyasji, Vashishta Rishi, Adi Shankaracharya, Sant Gnaneshwar Maharaj. All these people, they had both siddhis and the gnana also. That means they were self-realized also. So this is about the siddhis, because it is a part of the prana. You see, Maya has the two the two powers. That is the one is the mind and the other is the prana. So that's the reason Guruji brought up the subject of siddhis also, because prana is involved in that one. And one more meaning of pranayama is prana shakti, and it gives energy to all our body, and that is organs of action. So actually, you can say prana alone is manifested in the form of action, and its expression is action here. And when we talk about pranayama, there are some Sanskritam words that we have heard, like a Puraka, Rechaka, Kumbhaka, and these are the three different parts of the breathing cycle. That is, inhalation is Puraka, and exhalation is Rechaka, and retention of the breath inside, that is the Kumbhaka. So Kumbhaka is of two ways. You can retain the breath inside or outside. So when you retain it inside, it is known as Antar Kumbhaka, or the inside retention. Or when it is outside, it is known as Bahya Kumbhaka, or outside retention. And there are many kinds of pranayama that are there. And one is the simple one is anuloma viloma pranayama. That is alternate nostril breathing. You hold it your hand, your thumb, and then breathe through one nostril and let it go through the other one, and then you hold the other one, like that. One important thing that Guruji mentions is, pranayama is good, but at the same time, you should learn from uh, a person who is well uh, known in this field, because it is very dangerous if you don't know how to do it and you try to do it, because if the energy goes in the wrong direction, the mind will get affected. So Guruji strongly recommends that you learn only from a yoga guru, not through YouTube videos or people talking about those things. Don't try that one. So the easiest pranayama that anybody can do is prana vikshana. That means watching the breath as the air is going in and the air is coming out. You just keep watching it and feel that the what do you call uh, that coldness that when the air is going, it becomes cold near your nose. So like that is known as prana vikshana, and this one anybody can do it. You don't have to worry about the energy is going in the wrong direction. So fearlessly you can do this kind of pranayama. And of course pranayama is good for your health also here. And when Acharya says here pranayamam kuru, okay, so it doesn't mean just the breathing exercises, but you also should have control over your activities. What do you mean by control over the activities? See, when we are awake during all the waking hours, we are doing some action or the other. The only time you are not doing any action is when you're sleeping, whether you're napping in the afternoon or in the night. That's the time you are not, your organs of action, they are not doing any kind of action. So when you then they say control these actions, what does it mean is most of the time we use more energy than needed for our actions. I'll give you the example. For example, we walk. We can walk at a normal speed and then gently and all. But sometimes what we do, you force like thup, 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 you walk. So it is not needed. So energy is wasted there. Another example is you want to open the door. You can gently open the door, but instead of that, you kick the door. So more energy is used there. So it's like this, even in our everyday activities, we should control. That way, the energy is not wasted. So that's what it means, like a control over all activities. And pranayama is using breath, like your breath to control the mind. What is the relationship between the breathing and the mind? So if you study Ramana Maharshi's Upadesha Sara, you will see the why, how it is like a breath and breath and the mind, they are like a interrelated. That you will see there, the Ramana Maharshi has given. So what he says is mind and the breath, they are like the two branches of the same tree. So since it is the same tree, both the branches are getting the source, their energy from the same source. So when you control one thing, the other thing is also controlled. So the mind and the prana, they are like the two branches. So that's what he says. So you can see the Upadeshasara book and you can read that one. So, starting from the 11th verse, it says, Vayurodhana liyate mana jala pakshivat drodha sadhanam. So just like a bird is held under the net. Okay. So mind is like the bird. So when it is held under the net, first it flutters. Okay. But afterwards, it just keeps quiet. The mind is like that. Okay. So if you control the breath, okay, then the mind will be fluttering in the beginning, but slowly, slowly, it becomes very quiet. So, that Upadesha Sara, you can read that one. It is very, very good about this mind and the breath interrelation that it has. And then other thing is, As long as we are watching our breath, mind will be in control. But as soon as you stop watching the breath, what happens? Breathing becomes normal and mind starts getting agitated again. So it's important that we do the pranayama to control the mind. Okay. So once we have controlled the mind, what is the next sadhana that we should do? So here Adi Shankaracharya says is the pratyahara, the second one, that is controlling the intake of food. Ahara means food, but here it is not the food, but here it means perception. Okay, so and this pratyahara is also one of the limbs of Ashtanga Yoga. The 8 limbs of Patanjali Ashtanga Yoga there. And we know all our sense organs are generally turned outwards, and trying to pull them back, make it quiet, and then make it focus on the self, that is known as pratyahara. Gurudev writes, the capacity to whistle back the wandering mental race away from sense objects back into our bosom is called pratyahara. So ahara, as I said, it doesn't have to be just a cooked food or what we eat, but the ahara for the eyes is seeing. Same way for the ears, it is hearing. For the nose, it is smell. And for the tongue, that is the food. So these are the ahara for the different senses here. And these things, so we have to control. So you have to control the sense objects. Then your senses are controlled here. So we have to have it as, when we say control, it doesn't mean you cannot do it. Okay, you cannot see, you cannot hear, not like that. Control means, there should be a sense of proportion, what is good for us. That needs to be taken into consideration. So that's what our Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Yukta Hara Viharasya, Yukta Cheshtasya Karmasu, Yukta Swapnavabodhasya Yogi Bhavati Dukkaha. So when you talk what is necessary, what is proper, what is right, what is truthful. So same way, any other thing also, like seeing or hearing, all these things, there should be control over that, what you're seeing, what you're listening, and all that. So whatever you do, always be alert in that one. So don't waste your energy on useless things here. And see, when we are sitting for meditation, withdrawing the senses from the sense objects, that is as the pratyahara, right? So, and once you control during the meditation, that is good. But that doesn't mean it has to be done only during meditation. No, this has to be continued all through our waking hours. What is it that we are seeing? What is it that we are hearing? Where we are getting all this ahara for our senses? That is very important. What I'm trying to say is, if you see the negative news, or you hear this negativity from people, okay, then that is not the right thing to do, because that is not going to be good. So that is where we have to have control, even like watching television or browsing on our cell phone. All these things, okay, we have to control. And this, when we say control, you cannot force it. You have to do it slowly also, gradually. That's why Gurudev says, hasten slowly. And once the mind is under control, what is it that we need to do? Adi Shankaracharya says, and he gives the third sadhana here, and it says you fix that controlled mind on the reality, that is on the self. And so how do you do that one? By inquiring into what is reality, what is real, what is unreal, what is permanent, and what is impermanent. So that is the third sadhana that Acharya gives here, Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vicharam. So inquire and see what is the truth and what is not the truth here. So if we see the 28th and 29th verse, we saw Kama and Artha, they are unreal because they have their limitations. Then what is real? Moksha alone is the reality. So even when we see the Upanishads, it clearly says for a person who wants to study Upanishads, there is a adhikaratva, that is eligibility is very, very important. There they talk about sadhana chatushtaya. Okay, in the sadhana chatushtaya, what are those? Viveka, Vairagya. Those are the first two. So you can see Viveka. What is Viveka? This Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vichara. So in Tattva Bodha, the Adi Shankaracharya writes, what is this Viveka? He defines there. So Nitya, Anitya, Vastu, Viveka, Kaha. So what is that? What is the discrimination between real and unreal? The answer is Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma Tat Vyatiriktam Sarvam Anityam. So Brahman alone is the real. Other than Brahman, everything is unreal. Ayameva Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivekaha. So this is what is called as discrimination between the real and the unreal. So here when we say, it says Nitya Vastu Ekam Brahma. It is the self, it is the consciousness that alone is the real, and that I am. I'm not this prana, I'm not this body, but I am that. So this thinking has to go on all the time in our mind. When we do this viveka vichara, gradually, you get the vairagya also by itself. So Nitya, Anitya, Viveka, Vicharam, that is the third sadhana that is given here. How do we get this Nitya, Anitya, Vichara and to know what is real and what is unreal? That is, you get it by studying the Vedantic scriptures. Reading that one, you get the knowledge between what is Nitya and what is Anitya. And here Gurudev writes, neither pranayama nor pratyahara is possible unless the intellect is re-educated to hold enduring and healthy values of life. And hence, the importance of developing discriminative intellect. So, this, when we say this healthy values, we have to remember how we develop these values, how it becomes one with us. So there is this thing like how our thought pattern determines our life, and so our journey, spiritual journey, our destiny, and all that. For that one, these words are very beautiful. It says, watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your action. Watch your actions, they become your habit. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. Hence, thought is the subtlest seed that determines our future. So there's that saying in Sanskritam, Yad bhavam tad bhavati. As you think, so you become. So now we have seen pranayama, pratyahara, nitya, anitya, viveka, vichara. These three things. So now, how to remain in that nitya vastu? So that is the fourth sadhana that is given here, and that is japya, that is japa. So what is japa? We all know that is the repetition of the mantra or the repetition of the name of the Bhagavan. So that is japa. And here Gurudev calls japa as pre-vichara training. And through japa, the intellect becomes steady. And this japa is the function of the speech. So in the japa, there are many do's and don'ts also. We can go on for quite a few things, but I'll just mention a few things here only. So we have to have the right time to do the japa. The best time to do the japa is Brahma Muhurta time. What is Brahma Muhurta time? It is 1.5 hours before sunrise. So that is the Brahma Muhurta time. Why that is good? Because it says Sattva Guna is more at that time. And next is, it is better to do your japa on a regular basis when you do it, to sit in the same place and try to do it at the same time of each day. Not one day in the evening, one day in the morning, one day before you go to sleep, not like that. Try to keep the same times every day also. And also, how to chant this japa. So you have to experiment and see which you feel good about. Because if it is too slow, it makes you go to sleep. If it is too fast, the mind starts wandering. So you might want to try and see which speed is convenient to you or conducive to you. So you have to experiment yourself those things. And also, when you do the japa, you should be very careful. We should not do it in a hurry way. And at the same time, as I said, not very slow also. So it should be middle way that is comfortable for you here. And the mantra, it should be pronounced properly. We should not make any mistakes. So you should learn to pronounce your mantra properly also. And of course, it is best to receive the mantra from a guru. But if you don't have a guru, you can take any mantra that is on your Ishta Devata. Any mantra you can take. And this mantra should be very simple also, not very complicated. If it is too long, okay, you get tired of it. Okay, so choose the one which is smaller and the God that you love, so take that mantra here. And also how to use the japamala. We don't want to use our index finger because index finger stands for ego. So and we don't want that one. So you use your thumb and the other fingers, and the guru bead that is there. So that one, you hold on to that one and then pray, and then start the moving the beads there, and never cross over the guru, jump over it. So when you come to it, you come back in the reverse order that you have been doing that. And during doing the japa, you should be very silent, so you should remove all these external distractions that might come. And so these are some of the do's, okay, and also I said don't, not using the index finger and all that one. And how to chant, Ramana Maharshi says in the Upadeshasara, three types. That is Ucha, Manda, and Chitta. Ucha means loud, that everybody can hear also. If there are a few people around, they also can hear. That is called Ucha. Manda is where only you can hear your voice, not even the person who is sitting next to you. And Chitta is mind, in mind only. So when you practice the loud, why do we want to practice loud mantra? Because the tune of that mantra should get impregnated in our mind. So that way, you're chanting in the same way. And afterwards, it becomes manda. And then automatically it becomes chitta also. But when you are feeling sleepy, you can do it manda japa. So that way your sleep will go. And then again, it becomes chitta japa also. And this japa is very, very effective. It is one of the bhakti yoga sadhana. And Swamiji says, whoever does the proper japa, okay, for them, any obstacles in our spiritual path, that can go away. So it will help in, because it helps in concentration of the mind also. The mind becomes one pointed also there. And so that is the power of japa. It has the power to remove the obstacles in our spiritual path. So one should do the japa with total faith, total shraddha, and love also. And after that, it says Japya Sameta Samadhi Vidhanam. So, Patanjali Yoga Sutra that says Tajjapaha Tad Artha Bhavanam. What does it mean? A continuous repetition of your mantra or the pranava, that Om, with what you call the knowing the meaning of your mantra, and then doing the meditation, okay, that helps to attain the samadhi. So here it says samadhi vidhanam, japya sameta samadhi vidhanam. So samadhi vidhanam means dhyana abhyasa. So it is an absorption of mind in God, what you call Ishvara pranidhana. So how in this even this meditation that we do, it should be like Ajya Dharaya. Ramana Maharshi says in Upadesha. It's just like when you're pouring oil, okay, so it comes in one string, there is no like it's not interrupted. So it should be like that one. And so when you do that one, that leads to samadhi. And here, dhyana, when we talk about japya sameta samadhi vidhanam, here the meditation is of two kinds. That is saguna dhyanam and nirguna dhyanam. In saguna dhyanam, where there is bheda bhavana is there. That is, there is duality, bhakta and bhagavan. Two things are there. Whereas in case of a nirguna dhyana, there is no bheda. It is non-duality, it is Advaita. Again, Ramana Maharshi says in Upadesha Bheda Bhavana Soha Mitya So Bhavana Bheda Pavani Mata. So Nirguna meditation is superior to Saguna meditation, he says there. So as Guruji puts it, first vision, then revision. And if you do revision of vision, it is realization. Otherwise, if there is no vision, there will be only division. Swami Sarvapriyanandaji says the primary purpose of meditation is self-realization. So meditation is like a stepping stone for realization. And also he talks about there should be regularity, time, and place. These are very important in meditation. And what does samadhi leads to? Gurudev writes, the final experience is not gained by anyone. It is already within all of us. Practice of samadhi only lifts the veil and reveals what was, is, and shall ever be, the eternal nature of the infinite. That is, that thou art, roars the teacher in Chandogya Upanishad. And how all these sadhanas should be done, that is the most important thing here. The last pada of this verse, it says Kurvavadhanam Mahadavadhanam. Avadhanam. That means focus, be alert, and be attentive. Kuru, do. So do all these sadhanas with attention. Okay. And then it says Mahadavadhanam. So you have to add great, not only just attention, but with great attention. Okay. And with also patience, you should do this one. Gurudev says, quiet and alert living itself is a sadhana. Being alert of vagaries of the mind. And so you should be very alert about that one. And breathe life into your sadhana. That's what Gurudev has said. So Mahadavadhanam, with great and extreme attention, with great alertness, with vigilance, you walk the path. That means what? Don't be careless. So be careful about this one. And this is extremely important. Be focused. That is, don't let go of your goal out of sight. Always be aware of that one. And whatever the sadhanas you decide to do it, you make sure you do it. There are many times the mind says, I don't want to do it. But you be the master of your mind. And you say, like a military order, no, you are going to do it, and you do it. That's very important. This Swami Sarvapriyanandaji, he talks about his own experience. And he says, when he was in Belur Mutt, and he was there for about 16 years, and it was a routine thing that they used to do. What is that is going and praying to all the temples there. So they would they start with temple to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. And then from there, they will go to temple of Swami Brahmanandaji, and then to Ma Sharada Devi temple, then to Vivekananda Swami temple, and lastly to the place where the direct disciples of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa were cremated. That is known as Samadhi Sthal. So this they would do every morning and every evening. It was a routine thing. And Swamiji says, that he used to do this very quietly, attentively, and day after day, like month after month, year after year. That means for 16 years, he has done this one. And he says, now when he sits for meditation, this whole thing is so vivid in his mind. He can remember how the ground felt when he was walking. And even if that touch of that marble, when he bowed down to Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, everything is very, very clear in his mind. And he says, now when I sit for meditation, this is just a repetition. That whole visualization, it comes to him effortlessly because he has done it for 16 years. So this concentrated doing these things, it stays in the mind. And it is when you have that kind of a thing, it's very easy to meditate the same routine thing. So this is what we call avadhanam, kuru avadhanam, with care, with total alertness. These things has to be done here. So remember avadhanam. So pranayamam pratyaharam, nitya nitya viveka vicharam, japya sameta samadhi vidhanam, Puruvavadhanam, Mahadvadhanam. So pranayamam is at the level of our body and physiological activities, and pratyaharam is at the level of our sense organs, and nitya anitya viveka vicharam, that is at the intellect level, and japa is at the mind level, that makes the mind single pointed. Then comes the samadhi, And once you have understood what is Nitya and Anitya, the real and unreal, then absorb the mind in this Nitya Vastu, and that is Samadhi. And all of these things has to be done properly, Avadhanam. Kuru Avadhanam, do them with great alertness. See, many times, we do so many actions, but we are not alert at all. For example, eating. So many times we are eating, but we don't know what we are eating and how it tastes. Because either we are watching television or reading a newspaper or some other thing, and your mind is somewhere. So that's where avadhanam, alertness is very, very important. And so you can do japa. You might say, okay, I'm going to do 10 malas every day. And to finish that one, you go so fast, you don't even know what you are chanting. So we should always remember quality is more important than quantity. So, Purvavadhanam, whatever the sadhanas you are doing, put all effort properly, focus on that one, be alert and be careful. So with alertness, consistency is also very, very important. Gurudev writes, there cannot be any hurry in the natural unfoldment of one's personality. You cannot force the mind. Force will create only suppression, deformities, and abominable ugliness of the personality. And then he goes on to talk about how for nature, hurry is unknown. It's very beautifully he has written. You might want to read that one. So in this way, to seek Govinda, 5-point program is given by Adi Shankaracharya. The tagline for this one is outside in. Okay, so I will stop here. Just wanted to tell you, when we had the satsang this evening, I forgot to click the record button. And in the middle of the satsang, I remembered. So I said, okay, I'm going to do one other satsang just for myself and record it. So that's what I have done. Okay. So I might have missed a couple of points, but I think I covered most of the things here. Okay. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ हरि ओम everyone. So we'll see you next Tuesday for the last verse of Bhajagovindam. Okay? Hari Om.